10 year recorded 16 possible sums that can occur when you roll two four-sided fair dice. Complements, what is a complement? So if I say the universal set are the numbers from 1 to 20. All right? Let's say the universal set are the numbers from 1 to 20. If I say A are the numbers from 1 to 10, what would the complement of A be?
1 to 9.
No. 11 through 20. It would have to be everything else in the universal set. Not just like almost everything else. It has to be everything else, correct, in order for them to be complements? Because if you take the two complements and you find the union of them, you would get the universal set. If you take the two complements and you find the intersection of them, you would get an empty set, correct? Because they're complete opposites. Yes?
Yes.
All right, so let's look here. L and G are complements. If L and G are complements, that means everything in L and everything in G would make the whole deal. Okay? So let's look at L. L are all the sums less than 4. G are the sums greater than 4. Now some people might fall to this one being the complements, but the sums less than 4 and the sums greater than 4 don't include what? 4. So if you wanted them to be complements of each other, one of them would have to be all the sums less than and equal to 4, all the sums greater than 4, or all the sums less than 4, all the sums greater than or equal to 4. One of them would have to have equal in them, and they don't. So that one's out. L is a subset of G. What's the definition of subset? Yeah, everything in L has to be contained in G. So L are all the sums less than 4. G are all the sums great. Actually, none of them are contained. So no. G is a subset of L. Is everything in G and L? No. And why are they not? Because L and G are actually disjoint. They don't have anything in common. If I went to draw the L circle and the G circle in a Venn diagram, they would be two completely separate circles with a box around them, wouldn't they? Because there's no overlap. Okay, let's look at 3. 3 is really large here. I don't know what's going on. Consider the following two sets. C is negative 10, negative 8, negative 6, negative 4, negative 2, blah. Then negative 9, negative 6, negative 3, blah. So they want C. Is this an and or an or? And, because if I went to draw it out, I could write the word and. It's an intersection. So in order to be in C and in B, that's the overlap, right? On a Venn diagram, that's the overlapped part, correct? So what numbers are there? Negative 6, 0, and 6. So they want the number of elements. They don't want what the elements are. They want the number of elements. So how many are there? 3. I'm ready to flip over. Okay, what does the shaded area region represent? Okay, let's look at this. We're going to use our brain cells. A little bit of memorization, a little bit of brain cells. So it's a crescent moon, right? We have a crescent moon shaded. Do we agree? When we have a crescent moon shaded, we know it's an intersection. It's not a union because it's a small portion. It's not a large portion, right? So we know all the unions are out. Boom, boom. At the very least, I now have a 50-50 chance of guessing correctly. Because unions or means more, correct? If you have a crescent moon shape, we agree, if you have a crescent moon shape, it has to be an intersection. It has to be an and. Which part did we keep? The A or the B? We kept the A. So which one is it? None of these. It's none of these. It would have to be this.
See, that's why I couldn't see.
Yeah, see, that's why.
That's why I couldn't see. You screwed me out.
I did this just to screw up Ryan. You've now figured it out. That is my life's goal. I obviously caught this last quiz, and then I don't go and fix it, and then I just leave it. And then I do this every single time.
It's just a,
It's a cycle.
it's snowball.
Right. So when I've done this, we're going to remind you to sit down and switch it. Because
Did you write
every
a
single
little note on your desk
No, I believe in you, Ryan.
to remember?
Yeah. Can we?
See, but now we won't think of anything else.
Let's start. Get your paper out. All right. Okay. Let's. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Here we have number 5. In a class of 32 students, so that is the total. 20 put in a ticket saying they're in phys ed. 14 put in a ticket saying they had art. And then 3 put in a ticket that said they had neither phys ed nor art. So remember, if I put in the tickets for both, each separately, and the art, I can find the overlap. We agree? Because they put in all the separate tickets. So all the tickets we have here are 20 plus 14 plus 3, which is how many tickets total? 37. However, I have 32 kids. So I have minus 32. I have 5 in both. So how can I represent this? I can say phys ed intersection art equals 5. And I can show it in a Venn diagram. So I'm going to go. Quiet, please. Phys ed art 5. Now they want the number of students in art only. We can fill in the rest of the Venn diagram. We have all the information. 3 took neither, so they're going to sit out here. Phys ed has 20. It already has how many? 5. So how many are in phys ed only? 15. Art has 14. It already has 5. So how many are in just art? 9. Now if I add this up, I should get 32, or I screwed up. 15 and 5 is 29 plus 3 is 32. I'm sitting in a good, I feel okay about this. Then I want art only. Art only is 9. Now, how would I do art only? Art only is a crescent moon shape. Do you see that? When I do crescent moon shapes, what I want art and not phys ed. Remember, if you want a crescent moon, it's an intersection. You keep the letter you want, you knock the letter you don't want. So it's art, but not phys ed. The and you can think of as but not. Art, but not phys ed equals 9. So whenever you want a crescent moon shape, you keep the one that you have, so A, and intersection, not the other one. All right? I'm going to get you guys to flip to your notes. Go back to your notes. So we're on lesson 3, 3-circle Venn diagrams. A 3-circle Venn diagram on a test, it's a standard of excellence question. 20 to 25% of your diploma is standard of excellence. Standard of excellence does not always mean harder. Honestly, if I see a 3-circle Venn diagram as your standard of excellence question, I'm happy. Because I don't think these are crazy hard. But if you don't pay attention, you will find them hard. All right. Your test on this, that in-class assignment, remember where I said you get an open book test to it, is going to be on Tuesday. So your open book test is going to be on Tuesday. We're actually going to be done the material today and tomorrow. We'll still continue to review it till then, but the open book assignment is on Tuesday. We're going to move on to terms and cons after this. Okay, so this week we're going to move on, and then your test is on the Tuesday. It was either that or I made it on the Monday, and I didn't think that was a nice option. So we're going to do it on the Tuesday. Okay? So it's an in-class assignment. You can't talk to anyone else. You're allowed to use your notes and your brain. That's about it. All right? Okay. So here we have 3-circle Venn diagrams. So now, instead of having 2 options, we're going to have 3. Bless you. And we can have an overlap of people being in all 3 or watching all 3, right? Or watching just 2 of them, or watching only singles, right? Now we move ourselves out a little bit more to more events, but that's it. So, so here we have, that needs to go away. All right. The Venn diagram displays the results of 100 students. So I put this out here to help myself out. I know that in the end, when I add up all the numbers, it better be 100. If it isn't 100, I messed up, or sometimes I forgot to put the people who were in none of the 3 circles. That's often what it is. It'd be like, oh, I got 97. Oh, there must be 3 who don't watch any of these, or whatever. Okay? We have 100 students in a high school regarding movies they watched in the last 2 weeks. P represents the number of students who watched Perfect Rebel. C is chill, D is dazed. Okay? They have to tell you what they stand for. They can't just give you letters around the Venn diagram unless you state what the letters stand for. So, let's discuss this. We're not going to talk about any of that. We're going to just discuss this free circle Venn. If you look at it, the 6 represents the overlap of all 3, correct? So the 6 technically represents what? The people who watched all 3 of those. We agree? Now these numbers here, the 1, the 2, and the 1, what do those represent? Yeah. Yeah, watched only 2, correct? So if we're looking at just pieces, the pieces are just onlys. So the 1, and the 2 represent the people who watched only 2 movies, right? Now, if I asked you, however, how many people watched Dazed and Chill? Dazed and Chill. Would it just be 2? Dazed and Chill only would be 2. What would Dazed and Chill be? How many? 8. It would be the 6 and the 2, right? The 6 and the 2. His and is what shape? And is the eyeball, is it not? And is the eyeball. Here is the eyeball, if you do the whole thing, 6 and 2. That's the chilled and dazed overlap. If you pretend there isn't a third circle here, that would have been your and, wouldn't it? On the 2 circle? That's why it's your and here. So you need to make sure you add them up. Excuse me. I'm not a nice sneezer. I'm a loud sneezer. Okay. How many students watched only Perfect Rebel? Put an answer down. Let's see if you can get it right. How many students watched only Perfect Rebel? Okay. 3. Because it's just this piece, correct? And can I fill in the onlys right away? Any only, I can go in there and just put in a piece because it fills in a piece, right? So if I said 3 people watched Perfect Rebel only, I could go up here and put a 3 here. I wouldn't have to start in the middle because onlys I can put wherever because they aren't affected by any of the other stuff. So this is 3. That's totally true. Okay, I want you to write this down. Don't tell me, just write it down. How many students watched Perfect Rebel? Perfect Rebel. How many students watched Perfect Rebel? Perfect Rebel. What do you think? Does it say Perfect Rebel only? No. Does it say Perfect Rebel but not something else? No, it says Perfect Rebel. Perfect Rebel is the Perfect Rebel circle. Count the numbers in the circle. How many numbers are in that circle? 3, 6, 1, and 1. How much is that? 11. Okay, how many students watch Children Days? Go. Children Days. Chill and dazed is the chill and dazed eyeball between the C and the D. How many is it? What's the eyeball between the C and the D? 8. It's the 6 and the 2. See this? This is the overlap between the C and the D. 8. Chilled or dazed. Or is what shape, guys? Or is what shape? The U. It's also what shape on a Venn diagram? Snowman. So let's find the chilled or dazed snowman. Start counting. If it's in the snowman, it gets counted. 68, 78, 87, 96, 96. What is it? 97? That was 96.
Somewhere around there.
It's 68, 70, 87, 88, 89, 95. Good call. How many students watched all 3? 6. It's the one right in the middle. 6. What does the 2 outside the circles represent? Right. People who didn't watch any of the 3. Right? Now, if I want to get all of them and I want to represent it as an actual set, I could say P or D or C not. Right? Or means I cover everything in there. And that would be the people who do not watch any of the 3 movies. What does the 2 inside the circle represent? Yeah. The 2 is chilled and dazed, but yeah, not perfect rebel. Because it's chilled and dazed only. You could say that. People who watch chilled and dazed only, or you could say the people that watch chilled and dazed, but not perfect rebel. Either of those are correct. So people who watched chill. Is it chill or chilled? Chill. And dazed only. Or we'd say that 4 people who watched chill and dazed, but not rebels. Okay, next page. So that was the 3 circle filled in. Now we're going to shade some regions. Then we're going to learn how to fill in a 3 circle there, right? So here it says, in each of the following, shade the region indicated. I want you guys to try and shade these. I would probably, if I were you, shade in a pencil first, just to make sure you're getting it right. So do A, B, C, or D. So A and B, it's not like A and B, but not blah, blah, blah. If it's just a something and something, it's an eyeball shape somewhere on some sort of Venn diagram, whether it's a 2 Venn diagram or 3 Venn diagram. When it's just a plain old this and this, it's the eyeball shape. So I go to A and B, and I pretend it's just a 2 circle Venn. This would be the overlap between A and B, and I shade it. I pretend C doesn't exist. If I pretend C doesn't exist, there's my 2 circle Venn. I would have shaded in between them, right? It's the same thing. Okay, now paying attention. We're at A or B. Or is what? Snowman. So I'm going to go find the A or B snowman. So here's one circle, and here's the other circle. Then here I want A and not B. Well, and I know is the eyeball. We agree? And is the eyeball in every Venn diagram. The catch is it's not just A and B. It's the A and B eyeball, but I'm not allowed to shade the B part. Correct? So let's watch. Don't do this because I'm going to be erasing. So here's my A and B normally, correct? But I want A and not B. So what part can I keep? So let's go. It's easier if we do this. Let's just shade it like this. So I go A and not B. So if I do A, let's do this. I shade my A in blue. I'm shading it. I'm not really shading it. I'm drawing lines, but we can. Then I shade my not B. Remember, if you're stuck, you can always do them separately, and then you just keep the double shade. We agree? We've said that. If you're always stuck between your ands and your ors when they're a little different, ands, you shade both separately, keep the overlap. Ors, you shade both differently, or you can shade them both the same, it doesn't matter, but you keep them all. Okay, then we do not B. So here's B, and then I say not there. If it was or, I would be done. Anywhere shaded would count, correct? But is it or? It's and. So I'm going to keep the double shading. We agree? So I do it in highlighter because it's a little bit more confusing the way I'm doing it. So this is not double shaded. This is not double shaded. It's just red. Red, all just red, still just red, still just red. Here's just red. Here's just red. Okay, I got rid of all the just reds. Oh, this is just blue, so I also have to get rid of that. So I keep that portion. Yep. Yep. So technically, you should have shaded that. Does that make a little more sense? Shade each separately, keep the double shaded. Shade each separately, keep the double shaded. If it's OR'd, oh my gosh, if it's OR, shade each separately, and then just, you're done. Everything shaded counts, correct? Okay. A, and not B, and not C. Okay. A, I'll do it in 3 different colors. A, not B. And then not C. I don't know what purple's going to do. We'll find out. Okay. Not C. Ooh, that was weird. It looked really nice and then it destroyed it. Where did I triple shade? Just this A piece in here, right? Oopsies. That was stupid. Nope, nope. I meant to press the arrow. So you can either do it that way, which is slightly messy, or you can say, okay, I'm allowed to have A, but no B's and no C's, right? So that's just A only. Just this piece, which I saw most people actually did pretty good. Right? If I'm only allowed A's, but not B's. And if you think of the ands as but nots, it makes it a little bit easier. Okay, here comes the chance for us to fill in the Venn diagram. Now, remember when we filled in two circle Venn diagrams, we always had to start with the ands, then we could move out to the singles, then we could do the ors if we wanted to. We had to start with smallest shapes to biggest shapes because they can affect each other. Because just because they're in this and this doesn't mean they're still not in just the single one as well, correct? So here we're going to have to start at the all threes first. If your phone's out, put it away. So we have to start at the all threes. So here we have Rachel surveyed grade 12 students about how they communicated with friends over the previous week. 66 called on a cell phone. 76 texted. 36 used social networking site. 56 called on a cell phone and texted. 18 called on a cell phone and used social networking. 19 texted and used social networking. And 12% used all three. So I have to start with the all three first, correct? When's the only time we don't subtract? What word has to be there? Something only. This and this only, this and this only, this and this only, social networking only. The word only, or like social networking, but not this and this. That's when you don't subtract. If it doesn't have only, you have to subtract. because it'll already count those things. So I'm going to start in the middle. 12% used all three. I have to first label stuff. I'm going to do C, T, S. 12% used all three. Then I have to move to my ands. So I do the alls first, then the ands, then the single circles, then the ors. Because I'm moving from smallest shape to largest shape. All is that little weird bendy triangle in the middle. Ands are the eyeball shapes. The singles are the circles. The ors are the snowmen, so it's two circles. So I'm going from smaller shape to larger shape. We agree? Phones are annoying me. They're getting way worse in the last few days. So if your phone is out and it's flipped over, put it away. All right. So we need to go to the ands next. 19 texted and used social networking. So I go to the text and social networking eyeball. Text and social networking eyeball. That's this right here. Because they don't say 19 text and use social networking only. If they said 19 use texting and social networking only, I'd put a 19 in this little piece here. Correct? Because that's only. It doesn't say that. It says 19 texted and used a social networking site. So that's the eyeball. I need to have 19 in the eyeball. How many are already in the eyeball? 12. So how many have only? 7. So 7 texted and used a social networking site only. Or texted and used social networking but not a cell phone. Now we have 18 that used a cell phone and social networking site. Cell phone and social networking sites. We need to look for the cell phone and social networking site eyeball. They said 18 should be in that eyeball. How many are already in the eyeball? 12. How many are in the only portion? 6. Not the easiest to see. Okay, we're done that one. Now it says 56 used a cell phone and texted. This is the cell phone and texting part. We need to have 56. How many used it only? How'd you do that? Right. You went 56 minus 12 because there's already 12 in there. So 44 only. And then we have to go to the singles. 34 used a social networking site. So does it say social networking site only? If it said only, I would go to the social networking site only part and I just put the number. But it doesn't say only. It says 34 used a social networking site. So that's the S circle. How many do I need in here? I need how many total though in the green circle? 34. I already have 25. So how many are in only? Was it 34? Should be 9, right? 19, 25, 34 is 9. Okay. Then we have 76 should be in the texting circle. 76. We already have 44, 56, 63. I need 76. So how many are here? 13. And then my last one, 66 in the cell phone. I already have 44, 50, 62. How many have a cell phone only? 4. Now this is in percent. So what do I have to do? Add up to 100. Adds to 95. So what does that tell us? 5 that do none of these. Exactly. Okay. Does that make sense how we work from inside out? If there's an only, you don't subtract. Yep. Yep. Same thing? Yep. Okay. I want you to look here. A, B, C, D, Answer them. Go. They're off your previous question. So here it says, determine the percent of students who texted and used a social networking site but did not call on a cell phone. So that's texted and social networking site only. Text and social networking site only is 7, right? 7%. And this one says, determine the percent of students who used only one form of communication. Only one form of, one form of communication. So now we're going to go here, which is 4, and then 9, which is 13, and then another 13 is 26. So there's 26 who used only one, right? We have to add them up. Then this one says, determine the percent of students who use the cell phone only. So look in the little cell phone only spot. How many was it? I don't want to go back. Wait, how much? 4%? Agree? Okay, I don't want to go back a page, so if you don't agree, you'll speak up. And then determine the percentage of students who did not use any of the 3 forms. How many was it? I think it was 5, right? Okay, we're going to fill in a Venn diagram here. Paying attention, close, close, close. I saw a lot of correct answers. I saw some not correct. Like I said, I've taught you one Venn diagram, 3-circle Venn diagram. So how could I expect you to do perfection on the next one? That's ridiculous, right? The point is you do a few examples till you get out all the kinks and you can do it well. If I could show you one example and you could do the next ones all perfectly, I would be like the best teacher in the world. That teacher doesn't exist, just so you know, and it ain't me. So I expect that you're going to go through a few rough patches. Okay, some people will get it right away, and some people will take 5, 6, 7 examples. But we have to keep practicing and not give up. That's the catch. So we know that we have 750 students total that were surveyed. And then we have public transit, cycling, and walking. I don't care which way you put your circles. Just keep in mind that yours might be twisted from mine, right? So just make sure you're going in the right spot, not just based off my circles. Some people do 1 circle on the top, 2 on the bottom. It doesn't matter, okay? What does matter is that we have to start at the very middle. That is not optional. It's a non-option situation. So 20 students walked, cycled, and used public transit. So that's going to go here. Then we go to the alls, then we go to the ands every single time. Alls to the ands. We're moving from small shape to larger shapes. That's how we work. So we go to our ands. This doesn't say 35 students walk and cycle only. If it said only, I would go here, walk and cycle, and I'd put a 35. Do you agree? But it doesn't say only. When it says only, I don't have to subtract. When it doesn't say only, think, I have to subtract, I have to subtract, I have to subtract. If the word only isn't there, you have to subtract. So 35, cycle and walk. There's already 20 in there. So this is 15. I have to remember to subtract. Then 80 students walk and public transit. 80 walk and public transit. Doesn't say only, so in this eyeball, I'm going to have 80. I already have 20. So I have 60 who walk and public transit only, or walk and public transit but don't cycle. We said that way. 100 students cycle and public transit. So that cycle and public transit eyeball has to have 100. It already is 20. There's 80 and only. Okay. Then we have to go to, if we have options, the singles. Because a single is 1 circle, an or is a snowman, which is 2 circles, which is bigger. We go from smallest shape to largest shape. So we have to go to the singles. 370 use public transit. So I go to the public transit circle. And when I go to solve anything out, I can only be missing 1 piece of information. I'm only missing 1 piece of information, so I can actually do this. If I was missing 2 pieces of information, I'd have to go to something else first. Okay? So I'm missing 1 piece. It's 370. 370 minus 160 is 210. Okay, now, this is where people get stuck and call me over sometimes. They say walk or cycle, or they don't call me over, which is even scarier. So they go walk or cycle. Okay, that's the snowman. Perfect. There's 2 pieces missing. I'll just subtract and divide it evenly. Does it say that it's the same amount of people who cycle or walk only? No. So is that a huge assumption on your behalf? Yeah. Assumptions go bad, okay? So I have two pieces of information going. I don't just go, okay, now what do I do? And I just sit here and stare at it longer. No, it means I cannot do that. I need to go do something else first, right? Stop what you're trying to do. It ain't working. Go try something else. So I go back here and I say, okay, well, there's one more option. It's cycle or public transit. So I go to the cycle or public transit snowman. And how many pieces of information am I missing in this one? One. So can I do this one? Yeah. So just don't do the other one yet. Okay? So when I add these up, I need to have 445. I have 210, 310, 370, 385. So how many should be here? 60? Yeah? Okay, now can I go back to the green one? Now I can come back to the green one because how many pieces of information am I missing? One. Now I'm good, right? And this needs to have 265. I have 100, 60, 160, 220, 235. I need 265, so this is 30. And this needs to add up to 750. We agree? So this is 265, 210, so that's 475. I need to go to 750. So how much is that? So there are actually 275 people who use none of the green forms of transportation. So let's go through here and let's answer. Cycle and walk only. Only means I'm going to go to a little portion and just pull something off. Only means it's one little piece of all this puzzle, right? So I go to cycle and walk only. How much is it? 15. Walk or use public transit. That's a snowman, correct? Walk or use public transit, snowman. So I go to the walk or use public transit, snowman. And that's this. It's a lot to add up. 210, 310, 370, 415. Is that right? 415? Yellow's not going to even show. Do not use green transportation. 275. Use public transit only. How many up there are in the public transit only spot? Yeah. 210. Use exactly one form of transportation. 210 plus 90 is 300. And you all worked really hard today. 3 minutes to breathe.